a lot of different ways to make an impact. There are tons of ways that we can make an impact. But at the end of the day, how do you know if it was your social campaign, your ABM campaign, your mobile user experience, your storytelling, or your lead nurture series that really drove the most impact for your organization? As the analytics director here, you might guess what my answer is going to be: analytics. Unfortunately, though, right now there's a gap between marketing activities, like everything these guys have talked about, and marketing analysis. A recent CMO survey found that 61% of organizations spend at least some of their budget on all those types of activities, but only 44% are actually investing in marketing analytics as well. Only about 7% of overall marketing budgets are spent on marketing analytics right now, but the good news is that's going to rise. They're projecting it'll be 11% in the next 3 years. And honestly, there's never been a better time for it. Right now, we are creating so much data and more all the time. We are creating 2.5 quintillion bytes of data every single day. And if you don't know how big quintillion is, it's 1 followed by 18 zeros. So how do we make sense of all that data? The hint here is that it's definitely not going to be in Excel. To make a bigger impact from data, we're moving towards data visualization, like you see here. All that is a graphical representation of complex data sets, and you know it because you use it all the time. It's in your fantasy football app, it's in your LinkedIn with how many profile views you got this week. It's even in election polling data about who's going to win the election. So why the move to data visualization? Think about the last slide and then look at this. Were you able to get some sense of the stories on the last slide with a quick glance? Do you feel the same way about this? My guess is probably not. Because of the way the brain processes information, it's way, way, way easier to understand visuals than it is to pore over spreadsheets and reports. So how do you create impactful visualizations? Because your data is really only as good as your ability to understand and communicate it, you really want to find the right visualization. So with the question you want to answer in mind, start looking through your data and playing with it. And start looking for patterns. One thing you can look for is trends. So as we see here, you might have a trend like your e-commerce data spiking at year end. Not really a surprise there. Or maybe your leads drop off in the dog days of summer. Those are types of trends to pay attention to. Another one is correlations. So do certain data sets converge and diverge from each other? Maybe your cost per lead goes up as your budget increases. Or maybe you notice that revenue generated by arcades also increases along with computer science degrees awarded. Another one is outliers. You might find that a lot of data points are clustered together except for a select few. Those would be things to pay attention to. So once you are starting to get a sense of the story in your data, how do you tell that story to other people? You really want to find the right visualization to communicate what you're trying to get across. So here's a few quick tips. There's several different types of data you might be working with. Let's say you have nominal comparisons. This is just sort of categories of data like the number of visitors to your website. Really easy ways to display that are things you probably use all the time: bar charts, line charts, or maybe even a bubble chart. You might also have a lot of time series data. So quarter over quarter, year over year, how are things trending over time? Again, bar charts, line charts, and area charts really work well for that. You might also have rankings. So you could have your products ranked by your sales volume. That would be great displayed in a bar chart or a bubble chart. Or maybe you have per to whole comparisons, percentages, proportions, that kind of thing. Everyone probably uses pie charts a lot, but have you ever thought about using a tree map or a stacked bar chart or a stacked area chart? All those can be impactful. And finally, correlations. That's a great time to use a scatter plot. So, bonus tip, when thinking about visualizations, also think about making it interactive. This really allows people to play with the data and understand data and come to their own conclusions. So let's pretend for a minute that you're a casting director who is trying to decide between your leading man. And you have your data visualization to work with. On the one hand, you could think about casting Matt Damon. He's got more films under his belt. He's grossed 66% more than Ben Affleck. He's got more Top-rated films, certified fresh by Rotten Tomatoes. You could go that way. Or you could go with Ben Affleck. Sure, he doesn't have quite as many films and quite as much revenue. I don't know why he So he might have more rotten films, 55% to 35%, but his rotten films also gross twice as much as Matt Damon's. So at the end of the day, what would you do? Really, either way you choose, you have the data to support you. If you're going for an Oscar contender, you might consider Matt Damon. If you're going for kind of a crappy movie, with a bunch of films that make you could go with that. Whatever you choose, you have the data to support you. So I hope these quick data tips give you some ideas on how you can work with your own data to make a bigger impact.